Yo, yo, yo. Happy New Year, everybody. Hope everybody had a great holiday season. Hope everybody had a good Christmas. Celebrated safely for New Year's. It's 2024. Hockey Happy Hour coming at you. Brand new year. We're excited for everything that we have coming for you guys this year. Let's do it. So we got Flyers Oilers tonight at 9 o'clock is face-off. So we're going to preview that in the first period, second period. We're going to do a little fun thing for New Year's while we're waiting for the game to start. We're going to do a little 2023 overview. Your favorite trade, your favorite moments, your favorite signings, a player that you want drafted by your team. Let us know. Get in the comments. And when we're going to do our first period live reaction to the game tonight at 9 o'clock, like I said, that's face-off time. So hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that share, retweet. It's time to talk some puck here in 2024. So let's go ahead and get that going.
What's up, my family? Listen, first-time listener, or you've been here the whole damn time. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, giddy up, let's go, no notes.
That's my baby.
That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored! They did it!
Slap.
What the hell was that?
Oh, yeah!
What the f*** are you talking about?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new edition of the Hockey Happy Hour. We are live on A2D Radio.com. I am Matt Sitsuti, along with the Dark Wing, Brian Daly.
What up, Team USA? Moving on. Team Canada out. Let's go.
And the Broken One, Rob Povia.
Happy New Year, fam. What's going on?
And Mr. Switzerland, Mr. Broadway, Mr. Blue Shirt, Big Bad Brad Ryer.
Gabe Perreault with 2 goals today. First round pick of the Rangers.
There you go. There you go. And today, A2D Radio with the Hockey Happy Hour is brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy, the Dr. Paul Vidal, if you've got any aches and pains, and you really need to get them checked out, well, go hit up the doc at www.specializedphysicaltherapy.com, make an appointment, and go to either Cherry Hill or Burlington, New Jersey, and let their team of highly trained professionals make sure you don't have any more of those aches or pains, and you can be getting back to doing what you do best, and that's living life. Speaking of living life, if you want to have a good time with someone, have a party, or have a bit of a watch game party or what have you, or have a reunion, whatever it may be, Baggio's Bread. One of the best places to go to get some of the bread, get some of the catering that you need for that. And they're located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, home of the best stuffed breads, tomato pies, sandwiches, cutlets, and meatballs. Mention A2D for 10% off of your in-store purchase, and they are bringing you our poll question. The poll question is, the Flyers will sweep the season series against a much improved Oilers team. We all know what happened last time these two teams met. We also know that the Oilers got off to a bit of a rough start. However, it seems like they finally rallied the troops, and they've managed to kind of make a bit of a comeback here before we get to the end of the first half of the season. So they're still here. They're still alive. But do you think that the Oilers have rebounded enough to where they will be able to beat the Flyers, or is it not enough? Will the Flyers sweep it?
I'm going to jump in on this one real quick. I'm going to disagree. I think the Flyers are going to put up a fight tonight, but I think they're going to lose a third here in a row, which is something that the Flyers haven't done a lot this year. This is a completely revamped Edmonton Oilers team. They got off to a rough start with Jay Woodcroft, and they weren't scoring goals. And when they were scoring goals, they were giving up more. Jack Campbell was just an issue in and of itself early on in the season, and getting rid of him, I think, was one of the few bright spots in this season, because he went down to the AHL and he's still struggling down there. He lost the starting job down there with the Condors. I think it's the Condors. I think that's their AHL team.
It is.
But, after Jay Woodcroft got fired and Chris Knobloch, I keep wanting to call him Kevin. I did it the entire time I was doing research. Chris Chris Knobloch came in and he's kind of revamped this offense. They're starting to get going. They got some players that are playing really well right now. A couple hot streaks going on. Ryan McLeod being one of them. Of course, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl doing what it is that they do on an everyday basis. But this is a very tough team. This is a team that's revamped. Flyers, it's been a tough road trip so far. It started off pretty good in Vancouver and kind of hit a bit of a skid in Seattle. But, yeah, they're still fighting this team. I think it's going to be a closer game than people think. But, yeah, I disagree. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a one-goal game again. I just don't see them sweeping. I think the Oilers they're playing too good hockey at this moment.
Right. And I agree with you, Brian, by disagreeing with this poll because let's face facts, Flyers on a very busy stretch of games, right? And they could be, caught low on gas tonight. Since this team's last met on October 19th, a lot has changed, especially with the Oilers, as you highlighted. And I just want to point out, to add on to your point, Brian, that McDavid remembers that 4-1 loss in Philly without the benefit of a shot on goal. He was held shotless that night. That doesn't happen very often. So I expect a huge response at home with this team playing better of late. Now, can the Flyers win tonight? Absolutely. I mean, they have a good system. They've been playing good defense. They've been getting solid goaltending from the tandem of Hart and Erison. And we'll diagram everything in the contest in a bit. But sadly, fam, I feel like Edmonton get their revenge tonight.
All right. Brad, how do you feel?
I think Edmonton's going to could put a sound beating on them tonight. I just think the Flyers might be out of gas. This is a tough road trip for anybody, honestly. And that the Flyers have played very well. They had the one game they really should have won in Seattle, and they didn't. The Flames, they got off to a bad start. They made it really interesting, and then they never died. I mean, one thing I got to tell you about the Flyers, guys, it seems like they never die. Just when you think that they're going to die, they don't. But I think they're really going to be up against it tonight. Edmonton is on fire right now, and they are playing desperate hockey, and they should be playing desperate hockey because you know what? They can't. That division may not be a great division, but the other division out there is everybody's got 40 points. I mean, it's a very competitive division, and they cannot afford to fall too far behind any of them. And they've got to start winning all these games. And I think a team like the Flyers, who's been playing real well, they're going to have a problem tonight. Especially if they take penalties. Edmonton's got that nasty power play. They remember that loss in Philly. Didn't they get shut out, or was it one goal?
It was 4-1.
4-1. Okay, they scored one goal against them. I don't see them holding Edmonton to one goal tonight. My personal feeling, I think it's going to be close, but I think they lose 5-3. That would be my prediction. I just feel like they probably, it could be an empty net goal at the end, but I just think they're going to give up too many goals tonight.
Yeah, and to kind of build off real quick here, what you're saying here, Brad, Edmonton's a tough place to play in their own building. They're a very
really
tough
are.
team in their own building.
They really are. I mean, you've got to play smart. You got to stay out of the penalty box and not allow these guys to get into your head, and forget who's on the other team and just play hockey. Forget when Connor McDavid's coming at you, forget who he is and just take the body and play. Don't stand around and don't start chasing the puck. Stay with your man. That's going to be the key tonight.
So with that,
No fire wagon hockey. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. If they try to play fire wagon hockey with this team, they'll get slaughtered. So play smart. Play smart. Keep the egos in check and play it close to the vest. Don't let them fly through the neutral zone. That's what you got to do.
I'm gonna
beat Carolina.
I'm gonna say with this one, the thing about the Flyers is this year I know that they've been really good and everything like that, they've also been a little unpredictable, because you would think that this team would not beat certain teams or that they'd fall into a trap game, and they don't. They just seem to find that extra gear that some teams lack. And to be honest, I think Edmonton lacks it. It's just one of those things of that extra gear of, we're going to win this. We have the confidence to do it. We're going to walk in there. We're going to take 2 points. Even if you get off to a crap start, it doesn't matter. They still wind up walking in saying, that's all right. It's no big deal. A little quick waft of crap, and we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Everything will be all right. And ironically enough, they pull out a game, or they pull off getting at least a point, which is a lot in the standings, especially in the Metro right now. So, I'm going to say agree. I think the Flyers sweep it, because I'll be honest with you, I don't trust Edmonton. I think Edmonton has proven that without McDavid, or McDavid not playing 100%, they got nothing. They have absolutely nothing. And got all the pretty names, but you got nothing in net. You got nothing on D. At the end of the day, it's like, people wonder why you haven't won anything since you've drafted McDavid. Yeah, maybe you can make it back to the playoffs. What are you doing after that? Oh, that's right. You have no depth. That explains a lot, doesn't it? So, yeah, I think it's very possible the Flyers could walk away with a season sweep of the Oilers tonight, even if the Oilers have been playing better.
Yeah, if they could control the flow, stay out of the box, and keep, a power play that started off poorly but has been red hot of late, and we'll get into the breakdown of where they stand power play, little sneak peek. They're at 25% on the season, so considering where they started, they've been depositing the puck in the back of the net on the power play. If you can limit those opportunities, and this team has been getting solid goaltending, especially on the road, where, to your point, Maddie, they're at least clearing points in several games. Looking at their road record, the Flyers are 6-1-3 in their last 10 road games, including suffering their second regulation loss on New Year's Eve since November 28th. That's pretty impressive. That's damn impressive. So they've been strong on the road. So there's a lot of ways that this team can win, and I think they all key on staying out of the box.
Which is a challenge, knowing that this team does have a habit of doing a little bit of a parade towards that little sin bin there. But, here's the thing about Torts' teams. They have a bit of a habit of doing that. So it's not unheard of for a Tortorella coach team to get themselves in box trouble, just a little bit. But, like you said, Rob, you managed to eliminate that little problem. You should be okay.
Yeah, to build off of what Robbie was saying, you got the Oilers power play, who kind of started meh, because that whole entire team started out meh, up to 25%, which is good for 7th in the NHL. I think it's going to be the special teams is going to be intriguing tonight, because you got a top 10 power play going up against one of the top 5 penalty kills in the league as well on the Flyer side. So that's going to be an intriguing matchup all night long too. And like Robbie said, we'll get a little bit more into the breakdown a little bit later, coming up here in a couple seconds. But that's the key there, is you want to stay out of the box. You don't want to take undisciplined penalties, because this is an offense where, you got a few names on there, but these names can do some damage. There's not a whole ton of depth. But, you're getting some really good play from some players that aren't Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl in the last 5 games or so. And that's big for them moving forward. That's going to be huge in their success. And if they want to make a deep playoff run, is getting guys like Ryan McLeod going, who's got 5 goals in his last 5 games. He's got they also have, Evander Kane. He's got to get going. But he's going to be key for the Oilers. And if you can get him rattled and get under her skin, he's going to take undisciplined penalties. You can get that power play out there. And that's going to be probably a waste of time with how good that power play is. But getting Evander Kane off the ice and getting them to play in their own zone is It's going to be big for them in this game tonight.
So throw out a little love to the fam here before we hit the first period up. Eileen saying, I know this has nothing to do with the current conversation, but I was wondering, where the hell is Lindros' brother? Didn't he once play for Long Island? Yes. Was it Brett Lindros?
Yeah, it
Right,
was
yeah.
Brett.
Yeah.
He retired because of concussions.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But to
Right,
answer
right,
your
right, right.
right, Rob. But to answer your question, Eileen, yes, he did play for the Islanders, and Eric Lindros actually got into a fight with him during one of those games between the Flyers and the Islanders.
Hey, real hats off to Eric Lindros too, and him promoting the new PWHL that kicked off yesterday. Really good opening night there for the ladies, and hats off. I would take mine off, but I got headphones on. So.
I got you. Yeah, let's hope that this turns out to be a really successful league, so that the ladies have a professional hockey league to go to here. I know they've had some in North America in the past, but a chance for them to get an opportunity, maybe even more in the States, not just in Canada, for there to be a little bit more growth in that
I mean,
side of hockey.
I didn't see the game, but I've seen some of the highlights and some of the clips from the Toronto and New York game in the WPHL. Whoa. I mean, if anybody has watched any of the women's national games, you know how feisty that those games can get. Wow. That game was chippy. It was physical, and the refs put the whistles away and let the ladies play. You gotta love that.
You do.
And I wish that they aired them. They're on TSN, so hopefully we'll get a couple on ESPN here and there, so we can get a sneak peek at what the ladies are doing over there.
True.
Hey, at the very least,
nice.
if they could mimic the WNBA and the success that those ladies have had, but I can see even going another level too, because hockey, much like soccer, there's a following there, and there's a following in women's sports, and I could see it being even bigger than the WNBA.
Oh yeah.
That'd be huge. One thing I will say, though, they do need to make sure that there are different jerseys, because all of them are the exact same thing. So
Yeah, I said this. I said this when they released them. I said, and I'll say this here again. It's the first year. Just kind
Right.
of let them build some revenue and get some stuff in there. We're gonna.
just
These aren't
start.
going to be their permanent jerseys moving forward.
I get it. Just okay.
I agree with you though. I wholeheartedly agree with you, Maddie.
Priz saying they started out meh is a huge understatement. The coach got axed. How many games in with a team that had McJesus and Leon? I think a lot of that too. I think McDavid was playing hurt. I don't think he was playing at 100%, and I think that was hurting the team's overall performance as well. When your top star and your main player and your leader is not up to snuff, it's going to be very hard for you to kind of follow up. It's like, well, what do we do to make up for the difference of most of our offense? It's like, well, somebody's got to step up. Now, Brian, like you were saying, it seems like a few have. The goal is keeping that consistent. That's the main goal for them. And Eileen went on to say, agree. Hats off to Eric. She also says, ladies rule. And also that agree
We all know that that's true.
Yeah. And Eileen saying also agree with Rob. I think it will be bigger than the WNBA. And what's going on, Pete? And Chucks was in here a little bit ago. What's going on, Chucks? So everyone who's chiming in, welcome, welcome, welcome. Keep the comments rolling in. And now it is time for us to go into the first period where we'll break down the Flyers and Oilers just a little bit more. Oh, hello, Mr. Brodo. Always a pleasure to see you as always. If you ever want to jump in on the back end and torture Mr. Darkwing over here, we'd be more than happy to
Please no.
take you up on your services there.
Please no.
What? Nothing like a throwback every now and again.
Please no.
Just do it in the comments section, Brodo.
Please no. My life has been, my. Please no.
All right. If you are looking to buy or sell a home, or you have a change of career in brokerage, contact Alan Foyer, eXp Realty LLC. You can give them a call at 302-682 8820 or visit him at alan.foy at exprealty.com. Big step in life. Alan Foy's the one to go to because he's going to do it right. You don't want to just go to anybody when you're making a big move. So with that, we jump into the first period, and that is Flyers and Oilers preview. So, gentlemen, after having talked about a little bit about the possibility of the Flyers sweeping or not sweeping the season series, getting into the matchup tonight in the specifics, what major highlights do you want to bring up leading into this game tonight?
Well, something Brad said earlier, I want to touch upon the Calgary game. You know, this trip to Edmonton's going to be wrapping up a 4-game holiday West Coast trip here for the Flyers. Now, they started off well. They got 3 out of the first 4 points available, but they had to play, 3 games in 4 days and 2 games almost in a back-to-back scenario. And then they faced a well-rested Calgary team who hadn't played since the prior Wednesday. They played 3 games in 4 days, the Flyers did. So, I could see that being a letdown game. But this, they caught their breath. We'll see, how much gas they have left, Brad. But what could be a feather in the cap is, a homecoming for Carter Hart tonight.
Well, as long as they stay out of the penalty box and stick to the game plan and don't play fire wagon hockey against these guys, they'll have a chance. But if they start doing that, then they'll get killed. They can't sit there and go and trade chances with them. That's not going to work for them tonight. They got to make sure that doesn't happen.
Right. Inversely, too, real quick, Carter Hart's been confirmed in net tonight, and Stuart Skinner's confirmed for the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, and Skinner's been. I know. I saw Priz's comment in there earlier, saying that they still have a flat tire in net?
No, I think a tire swing.
Swing. That's what it was. Okay, I knew it was a tire. I just didn't remember what kind.
There it is.
He's been playing pretty well. I mean, the defense is still kind of sketchy, but Stuart Skinner's he's 14-9 since taken over as a starter. He's got a goals against under 3. I mean, his save percentage needs to come up a bit. It's at 892, but he's got 2 shutouts. He hasn't been setting the world on fire, but I mean, he's playing much better than Jack Campbell did. And I know that's not saying much about how good he's been this year, but he's been making the difference. He's also been helping the hang on, let me find it. He's been helping the I guess that goals against isn't really that good. The team is averaging a 3.24, which is good for 20th in goals against. So Oilers are going to give up goals here in this game tonight. So it's just going to be up to the Flyers to figure out ways to put the puck in the net. They're averaging, just under 3 for goals for. So they got to figure out ways to get this offense going and clicking. And I think tonight it's going to be a good one. I mean, Oilers are a fast team. They're going to skate circles. This team's just got to be patient and allow the game to come to them. That's going to be one of the keys as well. And like I said earlier, get Patrick Kane. Get Evander Kane to take some stupid penalties, get him in the box, and sustain some of that offensive pressure, and keep McDavid and Leon Draisaitl off the ice. That's going to be another key for them moving forward.
So, one thing I will say that the Oilers could do is they could be deadly on their power play, but at the same time, I think the one thing that the Flyers have to be really careful of is the Flyers need to also watch what they're doing in terms of their passing, and they need to be a little bit, so I'm not saying picky, but a little bit more like just a half a second wait. I know that sounds weird, but you wait and half a second, you actually give yourself a lot more time to make a really solid pass. I'm not saying they've made terrible passes, but there have been occasions where they've made some questionable decisions in terms of when pass, not passing, and then turning the puck over in the middle of the ice, and that's led to an attack going the other way, which is something you really want to avoid with this team. Because, sure, even if they've had more of the deeper side of things, more of the players that are the unsung heroes being big contributors to the score sheet, it just takes one bad turnover and Draisaitl or McDavid could pop one in the back of the net, and it wouldn't take much. Even if Hart is playing phenomenal tonight, it's a lot of talent there. So it's just something that I've noticed the Flyers can kind of do. And they do it a little too much sometimes, and it leads to mistakes being made in a turnover going the other way. They don't do it nearly as much as they used to, which is great, which I think is a lot to do with better vision and better recognizing where your guys are. But at the same time, I still see it from time to time. And with a team like Edmonton, that can be very damaging. So just something to make a mental note of, which, I mean, you're going to have your turnovers, but no egregious turnovers. That's something
Right.
that you don't want.
Yeah, what I'm hearing from you, Maddie, is you don't want the young guys being too overeager. Show the patience, make the smart play along the boards instead of trying to make that cross ice pass, for example, and maybe really have your vets step up tonight. That have shown a little more patience in that. I want to see strong games out of a Cam Atkinson who has a lot to prove. Going into the last year of the deal, and we're guys, we're almost at the midway point of this season. It's going to be the All-Star break before you know it. So it's time to put up or shut up. And, luckily this team has been getting strong veteran play from guys like Sean Couturier and Travis Konechny. So you want to see that continue tonight, because, yeah, I mean, this Oilers team, they are 7-3 in their last 10 since firing Jay Woodcroft. That includes a plus 13 goal differential. You can say what you want about the goaltending, but that's pretty damn good over the last 10, and they've won 5 straight games. So they're back in the playoff hunt, boys. They're actually 3 points out of the second wild card.
That's crazy. Think about that, but it's going to be a dogfight for that second wild card spot, probably down to the wire in the West, unless barring a massive collapse from one or two teams. But then again, maybe you can't bank on those kind of things. And at least
for sure, dude. Real quick, it's Chris Knobloch is a pretty offensive minded coach. Obviously, he did the power play for the Flyers when he was part of the, I forget whose coaching staff he was a part of.
He was with the Rangers farm team, the Hartford Whale, for the last 2-3 years, by the way.
Yeah, and then before that he was
he did a nice job with them. Real nice job.
Real smart offensive guy. He got the Flyers power play really, really humming the year that he was doing that. So he knows what he's doing with offensive talent. He knows how to utilize that, and you're seeing that with what Robbie just said in the plus minus and the point differential being plus 13. So the offense is scoring goals. It's going to be a lot of shots on net coming at Carter Hart tonight. So like I said, this defense has to be a little patient. It's crazy. Just the turn that this team has made, and they're showing the stats in the turnaround. They were 2-9-1 through the first 12, 16-6 since, including a 13-3 record in the last 16 games. And that's coming from the stats that they have on NBC Sports Philadelphia while they do their pregame.
Let's not forget Zach Hyman, guys. He's on fire.
And I was just about to get him. Zach Hyman has lit the world on fire since Knobloch took over. He's sitting at 21 goals. He leads the team in goals. So that's awesome for Hyman. It's awesome for the Oilers. Could potentially be really bad for the Flyers. And just another couple guys, like I was explaining, some of the depth guys are starting to get rolling here. Ryan McLeod, 8 points in his last 5 games, 5 of them being goals. Warren Fogle, former Carolina Hurricane, 3 goals and 8 points in his last 5 games. 5 of those points came in their last game against Anaheim. 2 goals and 3 assists for him. So they're getting production from guys that aren't McDavid, Hyman, Kane, or Draisaitl. So they have to keep that going as well. But, as long as this team, with Coots being back, I think that's gonna be a tough task for the Oilers' first line. And we know who the first line is probably going to be. But, Coots being the shutdown center and really showing that even though he missed a year and a half, he's really fallen right back into place.
I
But
wanted
Brian,
to
they're
look it
not a
up.
one-line team though. That's the thing. Not
Right.
not right now. Not when Hyman is on the second line, and you can't just concentrate on McDavid on the McDavid line. I mean I know Nugent Hopkins is their center, and you got McDavid and Draisaitl on the first line, but then you have Hyman on the second line. He's been tearing it up, and you've got to watch out. They've got two lines going. That's been the big difference for them. They've been a one-line team for the most part, especially at the beginning of the season. And then Connor got hurt, and then when Hyman got all that extra playing time, he's responded, and now they have two lines. So that's going to be something that the Flyers are going to have to watch out. They're going to have to make sure that they dictate pace and don't let Edmonton control the pace of play. Because they can't go up and down with these guys and trade chances. They've got to play close to the vest and play a smart game. If they do that, they'll get their chances because Edmonton can't play defense to save their lives in their own end. They're a bad team in their own end, but in their zone, they can be deadly when they're flying. So,
Rob, what did you say you were looking up?
Well, I didn't want to say it before I looked up because I wanted to be sure. Maybe that's a little cowardly, but yeah, Chris Knobloch was on Dave Haxall's coaching staff, and then he stayed on for Scott Gordon before AB was hired.
Okay, interesting.
I knew he was there. I just couldn't remember who it was.
Right. I should. I thought I swore it was him, but I wanted to be sure.
So, Perez is throwing this out to you, Bri. Curious, who are you willing to trade at the trade deadline? The Red Wings and Kane were open to a trade. If the Red Wings don't get into the playoff hunt, where do you see him potentially going?
Well, this is very open-ended. Anaheim, I trade anybody. The team is just trade anybody at this point. This team is just so bad. As far as the Flyers go, Sealer, I would be willing to trade. Sean Walker, I'd be willing to trade because that opens up a spot for Bonk for next year. I think he can he almost made the roster this year. I think he could definitely make the roster out of camp next year. So we'd like to see Oliver Bonk get a chance. So I would trade one of those two. Plus, those guys are playing really well. You can get a really good return for those guys. Atkinson, I would try and move. I believe he's on the last year of a contract, so I would try and move him as well. As for Patrick Kane, that's a great question. I have a couple teams in mind. I just got to see where they're sitting in the standings here real quick. I could see
L.A.
I don't know if LA is going to be a team. I think it's going to wind up being Dallas because he's been linked to Dallas quite a few times over the last couple of years at the trade deadline. He was linked to Dallas again before he signed with the Red Wings. I could see him going to Dallas. I think they're finally going to get him. I think they have enough to be able to give up to get him. And it's only a 1-year deal. So you don't have to give up too much, but you're going to give up quite a bit because of how well he's playing. And Dallas needs a little bit of that extra muscle.
I believe 6 goals and 13 assists in 13 games since he's come back.
Yeah, he's a very healthy Patrick Kane. Year. He's a very healthy Patrick Kane.
Yeah. Now he is, of course.
Right.
So typical.
Maybe he was a sleeper agent this whole time still for Chicago. Because obviously he didn't do anything to help Detroit's chances of making the playoffs. So, anyway,
Detroit put themselves in a hole when Larkin got hurt, and they
right. They haven't been able to dig themselves out.
No, no. They played very well yesterday against Boston, by the way. But Boston, when you make one mistake, it ends up in the back of your net, and that's kind of what happened with them. Every time they made a mistake yesterday, they gave up a goal. It was unbelievable.
I would love to see just someone pummel Boston, like put a 10 spot on them suckers and just make them completely depressed for the rest of the season so that they lose out. That would be beautiful to watch a collapse like that in Boston. Be the greatest thing. The only thing better than that is watching Pittsburgh miss the playoffs at the very tail end of the year. That would make it even better.
Well, they're playing a lot better now, by the way, guys.
They are, from what I've heard.
Yeah, well, they got everybody healthy again, which is, which could be tough if they can stay. But that's the thing; they're old, and old teams get injured. That's hockey. You take your chances when you get older players.
So Greg's saying, "What's up, fellas? What's up, Greg?" He also says, "Agree to the poll." Will saying, "What's up, guys? Happy New Year! Happy New Year to you as well, Wills." Thrashers fan forever says, "Since when did the Canucks look like a cup contender? Since the start of this year when they got Rick Tocchet." That's pretty much how it's been.
Yeah, they adjusted to his play after his short stint last year, and they came into camp ready to go.
Yeah, they've come back down to earth a little bit, though. I think they're 6-4 over the last 10, but still playing winning hockey.
Right.
They're just coming back down to the pack a little bit as Vegas takes its yearly mid-season, leap into the top of the standings.
Right, like there was ever going to be any doubt in our minds that Vegas was just going to dominate their way back to the playoffs as usual.
They were just yesterday, though.
Right, they were just hung over from the cup. That's what it was.
They could go figure a hangover in Vegas, right?
Right. Only difference is I think they left the cup on the roof, not a friend. Let's see here.
Movie reference. I love it, Maddie. Although I hate the movie, but it's fun.
I don't think Rob liked that. He did not like hearing that one.
If you said one of the sequels, I wouldn't hate you. But the original was pretty good.
I never watched the sequels because I didn't like the first one.
Yeah.
Well,
Rob's
okay,
like, listen, we got to think about this now.
Sequels.
We'll agree to disagree on that one.
Yeah, we will.
All right, so he also says, also the Flyers look good, really unexpectedly good. Yeah, I mean, I mean, even with the highest of expectations, I don't even think we were expecting this kind of play.
Right. And I mean, and Brad, I was listening to what you were saying earlier in terms of it's hard to match rush for rush with this Edmonton team. They're fast and they could score on you. But Flyers have shown an ability on the rush that I did not expect to see this year. And just good chemistry in terms of making that last second pass and just having a clear
I think they
net
could
to shoot at.
They'll definitely score goals. Edmonton is not known to play good defense, and Skinner's record's okay. His goals against average is okay, but his save percentage stinks. I mean, come on, it's under 900. Anything under 900, as far as I'm concerned, is not good. It's flat out bad. And you know what? It's. I mean, Jack Campbell, obviously, what was his goals against average? Like 4.5, 4.7.
Yeah.
Some incredibly bad number.
Yep.
So I mean, it's going to be on him. Skinner's got to do a better job of stopping the puck. Period. I mean, he's going to have to understand that. Yeah, I'm going to have to stop 2-on-1s and 3-on-1s and 3-on-2s every game because that's the way this team plays. They're going to try to outscore you.
Right. And Depressed Oilers fan, what's going on, buddy? Yeah, it's us and you tonight. Interesting. He's going on to say, trivia time, what was the first line goalie tandem for the 06 Cup run team? Well, in goal, Dwayne Rullison was the starter. I don't think it was Ty Conklin who was the backup goaltender at the time. I know at some point he played for Edmonton. I don't think it was that, though.
2006?
Yeah, Rullison was the goaltender. I do know that for a fact. First line, that's a tough one. I know Ryan Smith was a real important player at the time for the Oilers. I don't know. I wouldn't know who the first line would be, though. So that one you'd have to tell me. I know that it's Rullison.
We know who the best defenseman on the team was, though.
Was it?
Pronger.
It was Pronger, yeah. So, yeah, you'll have to fill us in on that one because I'm not 100% sure. Or we can look it up. We'll do either one. Then he goes on to say, "Give me 3 great Flyers versus Oilers moments from history." Oh, there's a few. I mean, obviously
Game 7 in 87, 88.
that was a great Game 7.
That was one of the best games I've ever seen.
To this day, I will still say that 87 Flyers team is the best Flyers team out of all of them that did not win the cup. Some would say 97. I disagree. I think it's that 87 team.
Listen, that team, keep in mind, okay, their first line, back then, they used to put Gretzky, Messier, and Curry on the first line.
Right.
Okay, Messier used to play left wing a lot back then. Okay, so stopping a line like that and just keeping them under control. Keep in mind, I think there was one game where they held Gretzky scoreless, if I remember correctly. I mean,
they
he
did.
No points.
I don't know if that was the game that they tied up the series. It might have been that one. By the way, that's a great moment right there in the Spectrum in Game 6, one of the loudest it ever was when the Flyers managed to get a goal from J.J. Daigneault that wound up giving them the victory and pushed Game 7. It just, at that moment, you almost believed at the end of that Game 6 that the Flyers were going to come all the way back in that series and snag and steal a cup from Edmonton. It was that close, that series.
Well, they had the best defensive forward in the league on their team, the Flyers, and that was Brian Propp.
Right.
And if you remember when they had the Canada Cup, do you remember who the guy playing left wing was with Gretzky and Lemieux?
Was it?
It was Brian Propp.
It was Brian Propp, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And because somebody had to play a defensive role, and somebody had to get the puck to them.
Well, you couldn't have picked many better ones there.
Yeah, everybody likes to talk about Gretzky and Lemieux. Let's not forget Brian Propp in that line. And let's not forget Brian Propp on that team, because in my opinion, he was the player that made that team go back then.
Yeah.
Clark was gone at that point.
Right.
As far as being, a primetime player, you had the young guys out there, and he was sensational.
Right. You had Propp, you had Dave Poulin, you had Rick Tocchet, who was more of a fighter, but then it turns out, he could score too. And I think Peter Zezel was still on the Flyers at that time.
Yeah, he was.
And they had Ron Hextall, who was playing his best hockey at that time.
And you had Sinisalo, who was fast as hell.
Sinisalo. You had Mark Howe, of course, one of the best players to play his position.
The Hall of Fame defenseman.
Yep. So, I mean, the Flyers had a phenomenal team at that time. So it was really no surprise that series went 7 when you look at it. I mean, I know historically biased, you look back on that, you probably go like, wow, the Flyers actually took it to 7 games. I'm like, when you look at it on paper, it's like, it's actually kind of not a surprise the Flyers took it to 7 games when you think about it. As for another moment, Brian, Rob, you guys got any moments you want to throw out there?
Between the Oilers and the Flyers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not really. I don't remember enough. My brain doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
I have better long-term memory than short-term memory, guys.
My short-term memory is way better than my long-term memory.
That's what happens when you get my age. Your short-term memory is bad. You remember what happened 100 years ago, just not yesterday.
And by the way, he does finish up by saying predictions: Flyers 3-2 over my Oilers because goaltending is weaker than in Philly. Yeah. And speaking of that, might as well throw this out there before the game gets going. Scores, gentlemen. What do you see the final score being here for tonight's contest?
I think it's going to be 4-3 Oilers. I think the Oilers are going to continue to grind like they did against Anaheim by a score of 7-2. Oy. The crazy part is that's not the first time that's happened this year, and it's probably not going to be the last either. But, yeah, I think it's going to be 4-3. I think they're going to grind a little bit. I think they're going to figure out a way to get a power play goal. And the over-under, believe it or not, is 6.5 for the game tonight. So obviously I'm going under. So actually, no, I'm going over 4-3. Sorry, I don't know how to do math. I don't.
That's all right. Math. I suck at math too, so it is what it is.
Yep.
Yeah, I already picked 5-3. I'm not going to change to that. I agree with the 4-3, Brian, except that I think the Edmonton Oilers get a power play. What am I talking about? An empty net goal.
Empty netter, yeah.
Yep.
Well, there could be some power play goals scored because, like we said earlier in the show, Edmonton is up to 25% on the power play, which is good for 7th, and it's been on the way up to get to that point. So,
what is Edmonton's PK though?
The PK,
I would say it's probably near the bottom.
Edmonton's penalty kill is 20th in the NHL at 79.2%. So not terrible, but certainly not in the top half of the league.
No.
Yeah, middle of the road.
Right. But then you look at the Flyers power play, they were picking up the pace before the winter break, but they're 1 for their last 10 on the power play, and they're still in last in the NHL with a 10.5% success rate. So unless Torts changes up the look here, I kind of don't like. I don't hate the 20th ranked penalty kill because they're not doing anything on the power play. They're getting some more sustained pressure, but it's not resulting in shots on goal and scoring chances.
And let's see here. I'll say my score. I will make it. I'm going to say 4-3. Actually, no, 4-2. Flyers. I think I was going to say 4-3, but then I thought, no, you know what? I think the Flyers tighten up. If they have a strong enough lead, I think they tighten it up and they get the win.
I don't hate that prediction, Matty. Like I said, it's within the realm of reason the way this team plays, their system. And, as I tore on their power play, but the penalty kill, has been, second to none. Well, actually, second to 3. They're 4th in the NHL in PK success at 85.7%. And they're scoring a lot of goals. I believe they're up to 9 shorthanded goals on the season. So even if they do go in the box, they should be disciplined and stay out of the box in order to win this game. They do they are a threat on the penalty kill there. So I do agree that it'll be a close game. I see it the reverse way, though. I think this team's, been playing a ton of games, and it's not going to be changing soon. I'll get to that in just a second. But my score prediction would be the flip-flop. I think Edmonton wins this game 4-2 in regulation, giving the Flyers only their 3rd loss since November 28th in regulation.
All right, then. And before we do a quick commercial break to dive into the second period, Flyers fan 1995 saying my Flyers prediction, we win 3-0 with a shutout and a hat trick from TK. Whew, just straight out teabagging the Oilers here in their building tonight.
I hope I'm wrong and you're right, brother.
Right. All right, then. On that note, I think we will let that fantasy play out in our heads while we give you guys some fine commercials to check out here for some great sponsors that we have here at A2D Radio. Until then, we'll be right back after this, and when we return, we'll be diving into the overall look of the Flyers in 2023 and give any updates we want to throw out there of what we've seen getting closer and closer to the official end of the first half of the regular season. So with that, here's a commercial break, and we'll see you right after this.
Royal Billiard and Recreation, proudly celebrating 40 years and our new, bigger showroom.
Twice the size and twice the fun.
More pool tables by Olhausen. More dartboard sets, including custom reclaimed backboards. More bar and kitchen stools that can change a room.
And more bars, including pre-built and custom.
Hot tubs, skee ball, shuffleboard, outdoor,
and fun.
Royal Billiard and Recreation, your ultimate game room store. Now located on Bethlehem Pike in Colmar.
In our family, food is our daily bond. My Nonna, affectionately called Mama by many, found solace and joy in the kitchen, sharing her love through delicious creations. She turned her culinary passion into a flourishing business alongside her husband and sons in 1983. Celebrating 40 years is a testament to our exceptional team, friends, family, and beloved customers. With gratitude, we look forward to the future, expanding our brand to share the highest quality Italian food and wine nationwide. Our heartfelt thanks to everyone who has played a part in our story. Grazie mille.
Hats.com is the premier destination for quality and fashion-forward hats and more, with designs for every style and trend. Locally based and run by Philly sports team fanatics, Hats.com can help you elevate your hat john. Utilize the easy-to-use guides at Hats.com to find your perfect size and style, and shipping and returns are free. Hats.com. Find yourself in a hat. Use code Philly for 15% off your order. Hats.com.
All right, back at it. We are here in the second period. We're going to do a overview of the 2023 season so far from what we've seen here. And I mean, honestly, like I said before, even the highest of expectations, and there were some high expectations, ironically. I remember distinctly us breaking down the Metro in the offseason. I remember people saying, oh, the Flyers are going to do great and everything. Watch us have a great season. I'm like, guys, pull it back just a little bit. Let's let reality set in. Apparently, I was living in the Twilight Zone the whole damn time because... Look at it now. The Flyers are second place, third place in the Metro, have been very competitive all year long. I mean, yes, we still have a whole second half to go, but they did bring up this statistic, I believe it was 2-3 weeks prior to the show, that showed that about I think 90% of the teams in playoff positions by December 27th or something, what have you. Some weird statistic that apparently everyone who was in a playoff spot about halfway through the season held on to their playoff spot. So if the odds are actually in the Flyers' favor of either having this spot or another one in the playoffs, and I have to ask, guys, would the Flyers be they have to be the first team, or at least the first one in a long time, to make the playoffs and have the worst power play in the entire league. You'd be like, how the hell does that happen? I mean, I'm not complaining, but I'm also saying, how did you pull that off? Dead last in power play, yet you're here in the playoffs? Okay. Anyway, so gents, let's talk about it.
I want to take that, Matty. The Bruins, when they won the Stanley Cup one, was it 2012?
2011.
2011. That was one of the worst power plays ever for a Stanley Cup champion, and they were right. I don't know if they were the worst team in the league, but they were one of the worst. Of course, they gave up. They were number one on the penalty kill and gave up no goals.
Well, that makes sense.
You had Chara at the point with that 100-mile-an-hour slap shot, and they could never score, which is beyond my my capabilities and my brain to understand why. But they were terrible on their power play.
I mean, much like a lot of 2011, I tried to blunt force trauma that out of my head anytime Boston or Pittsburgh had success in terms of winning cups.
I know, but I'm just trying to make it. I'm just trying to give you.
I appreciate that
hope, because if you don't let the other team score on the power play, then it's not so bad.
Okay, it's not too bad. Okay, that's good news.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Oh man,
it's okay.
I do love the Flyers fans comment here too. That everyone bought into the three-headed system of Torts, Jonesy, and Briere.
Yeah, that's what I want to start with, man. In terms of one of my favorite moments of this 2023-24 Flyers year to date, the hiring of Keith Jones. Between his connections in the game, his cool, calm confidence, and his sense of Flyers history, he's been the leader we never knew we needed, man. And the triumphant of Danny B, Torts, and Jonesy, it's been a success. I think there's no two ways about it.
It just goes to show that the whole time the Flyers really needed a fresh perspective. Seemed like there was a little bit too much circle jerking going on up there at the top. Too much boys clubbing. It's like, you know what? Why don't we go grab Danny? Why don't we go grab Jonesy? And let's go grab Torts. May seem like a heat seeker, but who knows? Maybe things will fit perfectly here in Philadelphia. And it did. I mean, so far it has. But that's what I like, is that they took a fresh perspective, and so far it's been paying off. And what I like that, too, is that Jonesy isn't getting ahead of himself, which is another nice thing, because how many GMs could you name? Many of them you could, including good old Clarky boy. He would have bought heavily into this team and probably would have traded off several futures to go get some big names at this point in this season, thinking that, oh, yeah, we're just that one move away from winning the cup. Love how Jonesy hasn't gotten ahead of himself and said, hey, we're doing good now, but we know exactly where we're at, which is nice to hear for a change.
Yeah, and it's not just that. It's these three have allowed every other player on this roster to kind of buy in together. They're all bought in on each other. It's not just a bunch of individuals playing. It's a team playing now. Anybody that's on a line with each other, they're playing, they're supporting each other. You see it in the play, especially in the puck battles, supporting each other better, playing for each other. If somebody has a bad shift, the next guy comes right out and has a shift that picks them up. This is a team that's playing for each other, and it's not. They're playing for a city. They're playing for the sweater that Robbie's wearing. It's something that's been missing in the city. Is how do I want to put this? It's playing for something bigger than themselves. And I think, honestly, I think Ed Snyder would be extremely thrilled about what he would be seeing from this team this year.
I think so, too. And for Flyers fans, question there. I'm going to assume Tom Wilson's doing something shitheaded like, so that'd be my first throw.
It's always
Ryan
Brad
Hartman.
Marchand. Always,
Good point.
always
Good
Brad
point.
Marchand. If you saw, he took a penalty for a cross check in their last game, and the refs botched the call. He got him with his elbow. It wasn't a cross check whatsoever, but he just wouldn't stop lipping about it forever, and they wound up giving him an unsportsmanlike on top of it. And I was like, good for you, you mouse looking mother.
Yeah, I mean, for me right now, it's Ryan Hartman, who just got fined almost $5,000 for high sticking Cole Perforetti on purpose and outright admitting it. I don't know if you guys heard that story.
Did not.
No. So the Wild and the Jets had a back-to-back, a home and home. And I forget who. There was a hit where one of the Jets just absolutely annihilated somebody on the Wild. And Ryan Hartman, in a face-off, high-sticked Cole Perforetti on purpose, admitted it, didn't realize that Perforetti was mic'd up and said it on a hot mic.
That's the draft pick?
With the draft pick from Winnipeg, yeah.
Yeah, Cole Perfetti?
Yeah.
Yeah, he went after him. Wow. I think, what was that? That was when Brandon Dillon went after Kirill.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I actually go into that a little bit later in the show when we go around the league, because Kirill's going to miss some time from that too.
Yep.
Anyway,
Minnesota is a notoriously dirty team. I'm not gonna. You know what? I'm sorry. I don't feel sorry for Minnesota. That team has a lot of guys that are really go way over the edge, and it is led by Hartman. Hartman is one of the dirtiest players in the league.
What I want to know is, it's like, so you go after their young pup.
Yeah.
Why not go after somebody else?
Agreed.
Like, once you go and whack Pierre-Luc Dubois, it might actually wake him up.
Well, they don't want to.
That's like a Rottweiler. That's like a Rottweiler going after a Chihuahua. Like, come on, dude.
Right.
Fight an honorable battle.
It's going to be hard to hit Dubois, because Dubois is in LA. He's not.
That's right.
Anymore.
I forgot he got traded to LA, didn't he?
True. Yeah.
And
See, you know what it was?
Hartman's a dirty player.
Yeah.
He's never been suspended.
Oh, I'll tell you what. I've seen way too many of his of his garbage, and I don't particularly care for that guy at all.
I mean, if you want to go into everybody's history, everybody's got those moments.
Oh, it's more than a moment. Maybe it's just against the Rangers, but he's always got his stick in somebody's face. I mean, he's always sticking his nose in and doing stuff with his stick. I don't like that guy. I'd probably love him if he was on my team, but
I mean, is he physical? Does he know how to get under player skin? Absolutely.
Yeah, he's kind of like the Esatikanen of hockey now.
Well, he knows where the line is. I'll give him that. You got to give him that. He knows where the line is. He's never been.
Yeah, no. Well, Tikkanen used to know where the line was too. And he'd always make sure that the refs weren't looking when he'd go to work.
So, Brad, are you saying that in the future Hartman's going to come and have a career year with the New York Rangers at some point? Is that what you're saying?
I don't think that they can afford him, to be honest with you.
I mean, you're saying he's a lot like Tikkanen, so I do recall Tikkanen going to the Rangers a little later on in his career.
Well, that's how I remember, because you know what? I never thought I could see anybody get Dale Hunter all upset until the playoffs, when the Rangers the year the Rangers won the cup. Tikkanen had Hunter so mad he was chasing him all over the ice and taking penalties almost every time he was out there. So, that's something that.
Oh, well, to be fair, I have very little sympathy for Dale Hunter. Dale Hunter was a shit stir.
Oh,
it is what it is.
He was. And by the way, Dale Hunter did get suspended for a very long time for that crap he pulled on Turgeon. So, but anyway, I'm not a big fan of his game. But I mean, obviously, if he was on the Rangers, I'd probably like him, because you root for the. You root for the laundry, obviously.
Kirk Tyler Cooper Jr., by the way, back at you, handsome. Thank you. Nice to see you here.
Oh, my. Oh, my.
Oh, boy.
What's up, Swoopy? Just in time, brother.
Yeah,
how you feeling there,
moments of the 2023 for the Flyers.
Hope everything went well today.
Yep.
Yeah, buddy.
And he also said agree with the poll, which is nice to see. And he also followed up with saying, when haven't we seen Forster and Tippett on the same line yet? It is because they both play left wing. Do you guys think that they could fit on a line together?
So you want them to have them change position this early in their career? I think that's a horrible idea.
I mean, Tippett being a right wing, I mean, you could eventually see it, but I mean, right now, whatever's working, don't fix what's not broken yet. I mean, the offense has been pretty good all season long.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And since the game has started, we'll just glide on over here to the third period sponsor. And the third period sponsor today is, once again, none other than Alonzi Travel. If you've got any destinations in your mind to go on vacation to, because it's rather nipply up here in Jersey right now. So if you want to go to, say, some more warmer confines, let Alonzi Travel take care of that for you, specializing in creating the vacation of your dreams at Disney, Universal, or wherever your heart calls you. Let their talented team of travel experts create a custom vacation for you. By the way, the talented team is slang term for Chucks and Ritz. Those are the guys to go to. That's who we mean with the travel expertise over there. All right, and we are doing our first period reactions currently between the Oilers and the Flyers. Flyers did have a couple of scary moments against the Oilers there earlier on, but for now, it is still scoreless here in the first period. But knowing these teams, I'm sure they will do everything in their power to make sure it doesn't stay that way. Okay.
Well, Maddie, I said how busy the Flyers have been leading into this game, and they got a ton of hockey coming up. So tonight's game, just before as it gets started, I want to highlight how vital it is. I mean, I did predict and called it down the middle in favor of the Oilers, but when the Flyers wrap up around midnight Eastern tonight, they won't get out of Edmonton till tomorrow, which leaves the Flyers with no practice time before facing Columbus on Thursday. And now the Blue Jackets are 4-3-3 in their last 10 for what it's worth. But all total, the Flyers will play 14 games in the next 26 days. And then there's the All-Star break. But you're coming into a gauntlet of games right now where, like I said, you're not going to be able to get practice in before the Blue Jackets. Then you play Calgary at home for a revenge game. And that's Saturday at 1 o'clock. So now it's an afternoon game on top of it before you get a little bit of a break. I think you get Sunday off. That's the Players Association's agreed off day. So they get an off day there. But then it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday for a back-to-back with the Wild and the Jets on the road. This is going to really prove where this team's at. Can they hold on in the top 3 in the Metropolitan? That's going to be a really interesting question.
That is.
Well, the next few games, though, after the Oilers, are against pretty soft teams, though. You'd have to agree. They're kind of playing teams that are not in the playoffs in the next five games. I mean, the Blue Jackets at home, they got the Flames at home, the Penguins at home, the Canadiens at home, and then they have the road game with the Flyers and then with the Wild and then the Jets.
Right.
So I mean, as much as they're playing a lot of games, they're playing against a level of competition that they really could get themselves on a hot run right now.
Nice.
So, if they could take advantage of their schedule right now, as far as the level of competition, that's something that you can look for that could be a very positive for them. And they are young. They're a young team. That should not be a problem for them.
What's up, Jake? And Anthony's saying my fave was Bob Probert. And Me Metal Mike also says, can we agree Marc-Andre Fleury will break Patrick Waugh's record in wins? And I did just look it up. He is only off by 1. So he could easily take it. If he wins 2 games, he'll officially break it. So, yeah, it looks like he's going to do it.
And he's going to get an opportunity soon, too. I'll get into more on that and around the league.
Okay, then.
Would it be nice if he did it against the Avalanche or the Canadiens?
Would be interesting, wouldn't it? And let's see here. He also says, remember how great Kimmo Timonen was? Oh, yes. Kimmo Timonen was exceptional. It's just a shame the Flyers couldn't get him a Stanley Cup.
He got one with Chicago.
He did. Bittersweet, but you know what? At least he did get it. Let's see. What's going on with the Eagles and Nick Sirianni? Well, I'm going to have to leave that one to you guys because I have no clue.
No idea.
Nick Sirianni?
Sirianni.
Who's Nick Sirianni?
Oh, it's Sirianni. Oh, Sirianni. Okay.
Ooh, good save on Fogle.
Good save.
Yes.
That's what we like to see from Hart right here early on. Scary moment, and he comes up big. And then the final one he's got here is, which team was better, 87-88 Flyers versus 92-93 Phillies, or 03-04 Flyers versus 07-08 Phillies? Well, it's kind of hard to argue against the 07-08 Phillies because they won the World Series.
Yeah, you can't.
But that's apples and oranges. I mean, if you're going to compare, you compare the same sport. How do you compare different sports?
Right, but I mean, obviously, if we're just comparing the two sports separately, 92-93 versus 07-08 Phillies, I mean, the 08 Phillies, again, won the World Series. The 93 team surprised everybody at facing off with the Blue Jays. So there's that. And then the 87-88 Flyers, I think, Mike, you mean the 86-87 Flyers? Versus the 03-04 Flyers that got to the Eastern Conference Finals. I would say it's the 87 Flyers hands down. Yeah. I love that 04 team, but no, that 87 team's still the best team the Flyers had that didn't win a cup.
Agreed.
BT Dubs, it looks like the Flyers are going on a power play.
Nice. Well, Hopefully, nice. I'll keep my fingers crossed. Let's be cautiously optimistic on that one.
Let's see who gets put out in the first pairing. Torts was saying he might shake it up, and it's about time.
They need to. I mean, you're 11. You're sitting at 11% on the power play. You're sitting at dead last. You got to keep shaking things up until you can find some consistent goal scoring.
I'd like to see Farabee he's getting top line minutes tonight alongside Couturier and Konechny according to pregame warm-ups. Tippett slides down to the second line with Frost and Brink. Forrester is playing with Paling and Atkinson on the third line. And they're actually rolling 7 D-man tonight with Mark Stahl in the lineup, serving as that sort of alternate D-man left winger for the fourth line. We got Delorier out. See what's up with that.
Oh, 10.5. Ouch.
Jesus. That is an ugly number to see. Swoopy saying, I will have to keep doing physical therapy for 6 weeks. It's not good, but it's not bad. He said, in between. If he doesn't fix anything, I may have to do shots starting in 6 weeks. But he said to get back to work out lightly and can run lightly. Okay.
All right.
Well, hey, man. Hey,
we're all soon, buddy.
Yeah, we're all here for you, Swoopy.
No doubt.
Come on, you guys got to move.
And let's see here.
Got to move.
Me Metal Mike wants me to read the Yotes comments. I can do that. This is my 5 Yotes and Flyers, Leafs, Canucks, Stars, Devils, Flyers, and Oilers, Montreal, and Jets for cup odds. Yes, feed me the chaos. That is interesting. That is a lot of chaos right there. Let's see here. He also goes on to say, no one's talking about how great the Coyotes are playing, and we could be the underdog storyline for a Cinderella Cup run because no one's paying us any attention. Thoughts? I know you've been saying it every week, and I get it. I mean, there is a lot of bias sometimes in sports and I think a lot of it is, legacy bias or region bias, and I get that. But, I mean, hey, you guys are definitely something worth talking about. You guys
I don't think they can hold off Edmonton though.
I mean, if they can though, and they get in, it would be interesting.
Well, God bless them if they can, but I mean, there's still 40 games to go.
There's still a lot of hockey
there's a
left
lot
to
of
be
time,
played.
And again, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So, and one or two games does not a season make, and neither does 40. It's 80. You're gonna have your good moments and your bad moments, and you just got to wonder with the Coyotes, one or two injuries, and it could be all over for them.
Well, but here's the thing about the Coyotes. Even if they do, and Konechny is all bunched up with. Is he bunched up with McDavid?
No, he's got Ekholm.
Oh, Ekholm. Okay.
Give him some, TK.
Yeah.
Let's go.
That power play was abysmal, by the way. They just couldn't get that up.
No, nothing changed.
Wow, that was like I've seen them in some bad power play opportunities, but that was horrible.
By the way, Kirk Tyler Cooper said, anybody else extremely horny about how good Matvey, Cutter, Barkey, and Bonk are doing? Oh, trust me. There's a reason why I have the camera as tight as I have it.
TMI.
Oh, boy.
Listen, I've been watching them highlights. You would be too. So
I'm not saying I'm not.
As the camera slowly elevates.
I can't cut off
By
his
the way,
camera.
guys, have you noticed the BC line is the first line for the junior team in United States?
Yeah, that's true.
The entire line is the first line is the entire line.
Yep. Team USA knows what's up. They know what is up.
They're not stupid. I mean, those guys have been great together. Why break them up?
Yeah.
Right. And Yotes fan saying, here's a fun question. 5 different Stanley Cup scenarios that can happen now since we are in January, halfway through the season. Well, I mean,
like one, Rangers versus Vancouver again.
I don't know if any Vancouver fan would want that, but okay. It didn't end so well the last time.
Oh, it ended well for the Rangers.
Oh, it definitely did. Broadway was celebrating for a good long while on that one.
The way they're playing tonight, they may not be able to beat St. Hilda's School for the Blind. I mean, I don't get it. You know, you watch Carolina, okay, and the one thing you have to do with Carolina is not try to carry the puck through the neutral zone. You know, you've got to throw the puck in and go after it and try to grind and outwork them. You know, and all they're doing is they're trying to carry it through. Carolina breaks up the play, odd man rush, score, and they do it every time. And you'd think by the third period they would stop doing this, but no, it's just oh well.
Kirk says that power play was the hockey equivalent of a B-rated movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they're so good 5-on-5, so.
But it's not like a Godzilla -1 really awesome B movie. It's more like it's more like one of those cheap knockoff films like Transmorphers or something like that.
It's good to have you back in the chat, Kirk. I miss you, buddy. Not that we don't chit chat on Facebook anyway, but it's just nice to have you back in the chat here, brother. For real, I miss you.
I hear you. I hear you, Ryan. I'll tell you what. If they get into your head and you get stubborn against them, they're going to tear you up, and that's exactly what is happening to the Rangers tonight. You know, the first time they played them, they were smart. They played a good defensive game, and they didn't try all these east-west passes. You can't do that against Carolina. They're too fast and they're too smart.
And let me take a look at the standings here, see what kind of Stanley Cup scenarios could play out. That would be kind of interesting to see. It would be interesting to see if we could get a matchup between, say, imagine you have Vancouver going to the Stanley Cup Finals, and the opponent that they wind up facing is Toronto. Could you imagine if Canada, just how they would be able to handle an all-Canada final? I don't know if they can, to be completely honest with you.
There'd be a lot of cars turned over and trash cans knocked over, and, you know.
A lot of greased up telephone poles.
Yes, there would. A lot of policemen would be out making a lot of arrests. Just think how much money the cities will all make across Canada because of all the fines that they'd be dishing out for unruly behavior.
Right. But if I had to choose, I would say Vancouver would win that because Toronto would probably outchoke them. Don would say, what's up, my favorite peoples? What's up, Don? And all right, so as we're still doing our live reactions to the first period, Flyers and Oilers still 0-0. Shots are 6-5 in favor of the Oilers. Relatively close first period, I'd say, relatively evenly matched. Even though the Flyers did get a power play, should have been a little bit more on their side. But oh well, that's crying over spilt milk. Let's keep moving.
Can you just decline?
Right, I keep saying that. It's like, is there a way to decline a power play? Oh my God!
Wow,
what a golden chance for Hyman. Whew.
Edmonton seems to have the step. Flyers are playing a little sloppy, especially in their own zone. Flyers had a couple good chances here early on, but I mean, a couple by Tippett. So he's looking like he's getting some good sights there. Just can't beat Skinner, but ultimately, this has been a pretty sloppy first period for the Flyers.
Well, hopefully they'll be able to tighten that up as we go a little bit further along.
Well, hopefully they'll get their sea legs by the second period.
Hopefully. And we're going to jump into overtime for Around the League. That is brought to you by the Dr. Paul Vidal over at Specialized Physical Therapy, www.specializedphysicaltherapy.com to make an appointment. All right, gentlemen. So on to Around the League, and let's talk about the major happenings going on in the NHL right now. Who wants to start us off?
I mean, Robbie's always got something good down there.
All right then, Robbie.
I alluded to it earlier. It's a double dose of injuries for the Minnesota Wild. Kirill Kaprizov is week to week for the Wild with an upper body injury after leaving his last game on December 30th. I mentioned Brendan Dillon of the Jets delivered multiple uncalled cross checks to Kaprizov's lower back, which seems to be the issue in my estimation, but it's labeled as a upper body injury. Meanwhile, the bloodbath continues as Philip Gustafsson, who left the same game after making 19 saves, was placed on injured reserve today, Tuesday, January 1, due to a lower back injury. Now, I mentioned Marc-Andre Fleury, who's honing in on Patrick Wall's all-time win record. He'll need to be leaned upon during this time with Gustafsson now on IR. It's kind of vague, Wild coach John Hines said, of the injuries and the timeline for returns. It could be shorter than that, meaning week to week, that is, or it could be longer. We're kind of just in a waiting phase to see. They did get evaluated Sunday, and now we're just seeing how they respond. We'll probably have a better feel for it in the next couple of days. So that's going to be really contingent on where this team goes. Is this a short-term problem or a long-term problem for the Minnesota Wild?
For them, that could be season derailing. That is a rough one.
Yeah, there's no way you can put there's no way you can even comprehend what that's going to do to them.
Yeah. So
and from dirty play, it's pretty ridiculous. Any suspensions coming up from that?
Nope.
None that I heard, because I don't even think there was a penalty called on the ice, but he gave him 2 real stiff cross checks, man. And the second one, he reeled back in pain. I was watching that on ESPN Plus. All streaming, all day, all night. You know what I mean? Cable.
It's unfortunate, but it is something that I hate to say it doesn't surprise me. You know how the season goes along and the refs start kind of loosening it up a little bit. They're as tight as can be at the beginning of the year, and then everything starts to slow up a little bit. Refs start to kind of put the whistles in the pocket a little bit more and let the players play. Unfortunately, sometimes they loosen up too much, and it also depends on the crew. That can have something to do with it too. Sometimes some crews are a little bit more free-flowing than others, but it is something you see during the regular season. You see a lot of tight calls made early in the year to prove a point, and then as the season goes along, refs start to get a little bit more comfortable and start to get a little less let's blow the whistle for every little thing. And by the time you get to the playoffs, forget it. You ain't getting a whistle if you try. So it's sad, but it's not all that surprising. For the league not to react to it, though, that's something that's actually kind of damning a little bit.
No, that's terrible. If he's cross-checking him so hard that he's hurt his back and he's going to be out, that's unacceptable.
No, you're right.
Especially when it's
somebody should have done something.
Especially when he's the franchise player on that team. That's just inexcusable.
Right. Yeah. Well, somebody should have done something. The fact that nothing happened, yeah, it's kind of damning. Before we go further on that, Kirk just saying real quick, we can't use outliers to justify this. Good power play wins cups, competes in the playoffs. 5-on-5 and PK is great, but power play needs to get fixed. It's absolutely fucking atrocious. I agree. The Washington Wizards could establish a better power play than this, and it's a fantastic to pop in again. Sorry for my absence. I love you guys. We love you too, Kirk.
Glad to have you back, brother. But yeah, no, it's true. It's true. And that's the last thing that comes about to a rebuilding team. And we may not see it come to fruition this year on the power play. Let's keep expectations still under wraps. If they're able to make the playoffs, that would be a huge win, but there won't be a much further route. I really feel that this team is on the back of Sean Couturier, boys. I looked up a couple of his numbers this year in terms of how they compare to his 2019-20 Selke season. Right now, in terms of time on ice, in that season, he totaled 667 minutes in his first 34 games. This year, he's up to 671 after missing almost 2 years of ice time. Just like John Wick, I'm pretty sure he's back, boys.
Yeah.
You know?
And go ahead, Rob.
Oh, just real quick. I mean that his minutes mark is over a minute over his average, so they're really leaning on him. You know, will that back hold up the whole season? Though it's something to pay attention to. But you know, the point production's been there. His plus minus has been solid. There's a lot to like about his game, man.
Yeah, and I do agree also with Kirk's statement here. Fuck. As unfortunately Connor McDavid found the back of the Flyers net right through Hart's 5-hole. And he made Sanheim look silly too on the deke prior to that.
Yeah,
so
I knew
he'd be playing with a man on the mission in this game. He remembered that beating. You hold McDavid shotless, he's going to come get you next game.
Yeah, that's true.
Your ass on it.
Yeah, you're right.
Damn it.
14th goal of the year for McDavid, and Nugent Hopkins on the assist. So 1-0 Oilers here. And before we close this out, gentlemen, any other major things we wanted to throw out there for around the league? I know we did mention Marc-Andre Fleury has the chance to break Waz wins and to move up to number 2 overall in that standing.
I got 2 things real quick. Ottawa Senators named Steve Stais their team president and general manager. That's official. They removed the interim from him, and he's going to take over full time. And to no one's surprise, but maybe I might be the only one who's not surprised about this, Ilya Samsonov getting waived by the Toronto Maple Leafs. And they recalled rookie, big shoes to fill, Dennis Hildeberg, or Hildeby, sorry. Young kid they're going to rely on. They're not going to fully put the weight of the Maple Leafs playoff futures on Marty Jones, but he does have he's going to find some playing time. He's going to allow him to develop a little bit, and they're going to probably heavily lean on him depending on how he develops over the next couple weeks through the major second half of the season. And who knows, maybe he can finally get them out of the second round.
Do you think Samsonov comes back? He did clear waivers, and he's down on the farm system now.
I think this is another situation where we're seeing with Jack Campbell. He's just a product of a good situation in Washington and went to Toronto. He's just not that good.
Well, a lot of people never really thought he was all that good anyway. But as far as Samsonov, it's surprising how bad he's been.
I mean, wasn't he the goaltender when Washington won the Stanley Cup in 2018?
No, that was Holtby.
That was Holtby.
Was it Holtby?
Yeah,
I'm sure Holtby was out by then.
What, in 2018?
No, not in 2018.
What year?
No, Holtby
he was still at the top of his game.
Yeah, it was a big deal that he finally managed to outdo whomever the hell Pittsburgh was throwing out there, which I think was still Matt Murray at the time.
But yeah, that's what I got going on.
All right, then. And Kirk will close out with this. I have a major thing to close out with. Hart should close his 5-hole instead of spreading his legs like a whore. I agree. You should never do that. Never. I mean, unless
he got
you
a piece of it. He didn't get the whole thing, though.
No, he didn't. It was actually it was a perfectly timed shot because Hart was just closing up and right through him.
First weaker. That's all that was.
All right. So, unfortunately, like we said before, the Flyers down 1-0. Hart just making a great glove snare, at least. And we've got a penalty coming up, and I believe it is on the Flyers, unfortunately.
Listen, guys, Edmonton gives up goals. Remember that.
Right. Unfortunately,
you're not playing against a team that owns a sulky player.
That's true.
And there's certainly no Vezina Trophy winners in goal for Edmonton either. So just keep playing.
Let's go.
All right. So we're going to head out now, guys. Flyers going to have to try and get a big kill here against the Oilers. Try and keep this 1-0 before the period is out. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of the game. I know we will. And we hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. We got Birds of a Feather coming up next. So they'll be talking about the Eagles as they get ready for their big push into the playoffs. hopefully with some positive results on the other side. And we will see you guys next week right here on A2DRadio.com. One last time, Specialized Physical Therapy. If you got any aches and pains, SpecializedPhysicalTherapy.com. And next week here on A2D Radio, we will have a game to... No, looks like we don't, actually.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I believe, next week. Yeah.
Yep, you are right. So, all right. So next week we won't have a game, but we will have a show. So we will see you guys next week, and we'll see what we come up with. Until then, guys, stay safe, stay healthy, peace and love, everyone. Take care out there.